So business problems that we address is really it's the underlying platform by which we stand up our server technology that we have to support. So we use it as pretty much high available, secure operating system for the different services that we have running on. I'd say as far as security, having security built in and baked in from the start, I think RHEL does really well. I think the packaging, the updating, as well as just the Ansible integration in it all, just being able to leverage Ansible in a lot of ways with Red Hat has been huge. The imaging process is fairly easy, so I just like it overall. As far as it comes ready to be um, implemented, secured, and deployed to production in a lot of ways. As far as like the built-in tools make it easier, and it's something I've been familiar with for a long time, and something they've improved upon specifically has been like Damon's system CTL has been a huge help, and journal CTL. I'd say the more advanced security tooling features, but maybe that's because I don't leverage any of the GUI complementary software suites, but really just being able to leverage FA policy, AID, AID, and SE Linux, in a more intuitive way. Maybe that's just training. I think training is another thing that could be helpful. Just having the training subscriptions accessible for my team can be super helpful, because that's really the biggest gap we have, is just making sure that people are trained on our technology with leveraging. I'd say 10 to me. Yeah, I'd say 10. Where it's well suited, I would say for enterprise server management, for just essentially servers that don't require GUI or that you want to run in a kind of secure standalone fashion. I think it does become difficult with integrating with different identity providers. So that can be a pain point as far as like integration with Active Directory or any kind of LDAP. Um, but I would say, as far as just being able to provide confidence that you're deploying a secure product from the outset, and that it serves the needs of the different infrastructure as far as compatibility with a lot of software that's built on the platform. So I think it's really helpful for serving that server software in the cloud or on virtual machines, wherever. I'd say, in industries where maybe you want to start fast and develop a proof of concept, like I know a lot of people more likely leverage Ubuntu just because it's more open from the outset, right? But that's built into Red Hat Enterprise Linux. That's what you're getting, is that it's going to be secure from start. So because a lot of people, developers, they get down this lane where they develop everything on Ubuntu, and then when it comes time to actually secure the application in a meaningful way, they're having the tooling isn't there, and they're having to go back and then test functionality rather than implementing security from the outset. And I would say that most people typically say you want to leverage just more open Linux platforms when you're deploying applications and developing proof of concept initially. I would say the most obvious answer for me that I've used or evaluated in the past, where it was pretty clear that it's just not as good, was like Solaris or some of the older and more obscure Linux distributions, where this is just there's a uniformity to it, and it's the fact that it's widely used also contributes to it, and I don't have to train somebody on like this is how SUSE Linux does it, or this is how Oracle Linux, or whatever the case may be. So I'd say my experience with those hasn't really compared those other platforms, especially since compatibility is such that, like, because of their security, they're not going to be included in testing for compatibility. So I would say it's a really big boon that Red Hat is so widely adopted. I'll say positive impact has definitely been just the security first mindset and being able to produce artifacts, being able to run a lot of automation against RHEL for hardening the operating system, the underlying operating system. There's a lot of content out there. There's a huge community. So it's kind of, you get to inherit all of that when you come into the ecosystem. There's a huge ROI on that. And not only that, but also just the Red Hat services and consulting. Like I've been around the block as far as like different technologies and, leveraging different operating systems. And I got to say, Red Hat support, I really feel heard when I talk to the technical architects and implementers. I really feel like they're interested in solving our problems and not just kind of shuffling us off to another department. Like that's something I've really appreciated while I've been here, is being able to walk right up to Red Hatters and get a lot of their insights and just get their attention undivided. I would say yes. 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 Yeah. So I leverage a lot of open source, but otherwise, AWS native products. And, really, I think when you get to the cloud, like it's really pick your flavor, pick your poison in a lot of ways. So I would say that I would recommend, probably the biggest thing I would recommend is Git T. It's an open source product. And Jenkins, I've been talking to the Cloud Bees and just getting a better idea of how powerful Jenkins can be and how we can leverage it. But then again, those are not paid products. I guess Microsoft products as well. Like we use Microsoft Windows. I was a big I started out as a Microsoft engineer, a Windows engineer, and now I'm more just everything engineer. But yeah, I would say Windows, Microsoft products. I think they're doing a lot of good stuff, and I hope there can be more strategic partnerships between Red Hat and Microsoft, especially when it comes to integrations and identity management. Yes, yeah,